She's a bright one. All right. Thank you all for being here. Sorry for the 2 minutes of lateness. I plan to be done on time or a little early for you guys. Tonight's talk, emotions and the organs they are connected to. So we're going to be talking about some meridian stuff. We're going to talk about hierarchy of emotional need, as well as different things that can actually help you remove that emotional application. What we do need to understand is that when I'm talking about emotions, they can actually be triggered or correlated to specific muscle functions. So certain muscles will not fire correctly. And so if I take care of you and we start seeing muscle issues that recurrently come back over and over and over again, it may be a meridian that's blocked, it may be a toxin, or it could be an underlying emotion that we continually just keep dealing with that will cause these major issues to propagate. As always, I want to thank you all for being here, and I want you to come with an open heart and an open mind, because my goal is to empower and uplift every one of you so that you can help your friends, your family, your community, and move forward that way. Because I know we can help you, but I want you to be able to help somebody else. So my hope and my prayer is that you have one or two takeaways that can actually help somebody else and yourself. So with that being said, let's look at the hierarchy of emotional needs. So what we're going to look at is what is the number one need that we need emotionally. Any guesses? Safety. You're not allowed to answer it. Safety is actually number one. So we're going to think lowest to highest. So you need to feel safe. You need to feel like you're okay and you're not in survival. That's the number one level. If you're in survival, we're in fight or flight. And if we remember from the other communication we were talking about, where does that happen in the brain? You're not allowed to say. Do we know where in the brain fight or flight exists? Any ideas? Brainstem, exactly. Specifically pons. And if you want to get really specific, cranial nerves 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's seeing and smelling will really drive that. And we've all experienced what happens when we smell something that was correlated with a negative thing, or when we smell something that was correlated with a positive thing. That's why smell is so powerful. It's part of that pons and directly can trigger you. Make sense? Now, number two of the level is growth. So growth and understanding is the next most important things when we're talking about spiritual needs. So we need to grow. We need to feel like we're growing. We need to feel like we're moving forward, feel like we're making steps. And we all know this. If we're not moving forward in some form of life, we're not happy. If it's physically, spiritually, relationships, vocational, whatever it is, we know we're not at the place where we want to be. So we want to feel like there is something moving forward. Just as a side note, the trick to being young is to actually grow every day. It doesn't mean that you have to be able to bench press 1,000 pounds or something crazy. It's that you're moving forward towards a goal. So you're always looking forward to something, growing towards something. If you notice, whenever I adjust you, majority of the time I ask you, what are you excited about? And I'm asking you, what are you growing towards? So I'm asking you, what are you focusing on? What are we allowing ourselves to move forward on? Because that helps us repattern our brain. And if we're thinking about that positive growth, when I adjust you, you actually now start hardwiring or neurologically impressing that that's what we're going to do and move forward on. Then we get towards connection and love. You would think this is the top, but it actually isn't. So connection and love and acceptance is the third level. To feel like you are understood, to feel like people know you, that you don't have to say something and it's all okay. That's going to be our third level. Then once we feel loved and we've gotten past us, then what we do is we turn from within and then we look out. And when we look out, Then we want to look at contribution and creation. So once you feel loved, then it's not about you needing love. It's about how do I help the others? How do I change the people around me? So that's contribution and creation. Then we can also look at significance, identity, and esteem. These can get flipped around, so they're not exactly in order in the middle, but understand these ones will help you be able to give. So if you feel full, you can give what you have. If you feel empty, you always want to take. And we can see this from people. People who are hurting, they always need more. They always need more. And I see this quite often in the office. People who are in emotional pain or physical pain, they need more stimulation. If it's physical pain, they need more stimulation to make the brain feel calm so that the pain goes away. If it's emotional, they always need more connection to feel stable. Does it make sense? Then we look at self-direction, autonomy, and justice. So is what's happening around me, is that right in my eyes? Am I able to make decisions and choices on my own? We're getting more into not so much about me, but the global effect that I have on others. And is what's happening around us something that I agree with? Yes or no? And then we get into the ultimate level where we want to get to self-fulfillment, self-transcendence, helping deal with, and this is where you help people deal with grief, get rid of resentment, unforgiveness. So this is your spiritual awakening. This is your connection. This is when you feel that it's not about you anymore, and it's not about the people, it's about you and Creator. And that's ultimately where we'll get to when we talked about the fundamental emotional needs, is where are we on that? So we looked at these emotional needs and emotional connectivity. And what I want us to understand is when we are looking at the organs, the muscles, and the emotions that are tied together, usually we're going to have one of these needs not being met. And then it will manifest or show up in the body. And what we're going to talk about next is the polyvagal theory. And if you're like, well, what does that mean? I'll make it real simple. The vagus nerve. And if you're like, well, what's that? Do you remember when I stuck something in your mouth and tried to make you gag, or you gagged? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the vagus nerve. We're talking about, is that nerve working correctly, and why is it important? What does this vagus nerve actually do? And if you want to understand it simply, the vagus nerve comes off of your brainstem. So the top, the number 3 or 1, 2, 3, 4, that's fight or flight. And the very bottom, the vagus, that is going to be cranial nerve 10. And then there's 11 and 12. But 10 literally comes off on both sides of your brainstem, comes out, goes down, and then guess what it controls? Your heart. Your diaphragm, it'll help with partials of it. Your liver, kidneys, lungs, gallbladder, large intestine, small intestine, basically all of digestion, stomach. That nerve, called the vagus nerve, determines if those organs will work correctly. If we are in fight or flight, the vagus nerve literally downgrades. It doesn't produce as much function, and your organs turn off. Have we ever heard, do not go swimming after you've eaten something? Why is that important? Do you guys know? It's because they don't want you to cramp. So if we eat food, we need the vagus nerve to be working correctly. We need all the blood from the extremities to go to the digestive tract and to allow us to digest food. So this is why if you eat a lot of food and your gut needs to really turn on, you'll actually get cold. Because it will suck the blood away from your extremities and move it to your actual organs, your viscera, and that will digest the food. What if we need to actually go swimming? Then we're going to pull the blood away from the gut and it's go to the muscles again, and then you can get cramps. And swimming is really important because if you cramp when you're swimming, you can actually drown because you can't get out of the water. Does that make sense? So we want the vagus nerve to work correctly. If it doesn't work correctly, the organs will not work correctly. The number one thing that we see that actually causes digestive issues or leaky gut or any number of bowel or bladder issues is literally the vagus nerve isn't working correctly. And it's the missing thing. If you have a digestive problem and you've gone to multiple therapists who have done different therapies or nutrition or different things like that, and it works for a couple months and then fails and works, it's because you're missing the neurology. We chronically see this in this office where people have been to multiple nutritions or naturopath, and people that don't look at the neurology, they just look at the blood and they just look at the system, but they don't look at what controls the system. So they go, well, you need glutamine and glutathione and then these different digestive enzymes and a probiotic, and then your gut should get better. Yes, if the nerve controls it correctly. If it doesn't, we will chronically get inflammation and it won't heal. So we're looking at this whole system. Now, what are the different organs and what are the different muscles and what are the different emotions? I'll go first with emotions, and then if we have time, we can get my other cheat book and I can go into the muscles for you. I do remember liver off the top of my head. So we are going to look at liver. Do we have any ideas what emotion a liver could be tied to? From the crowd, we got anger. Is that our only answer? Yes? No? Well, it's correct. It is anger. I just want to play coy with you guys. So liver is correlated with anger. And we can see this. We can see this both nutraceutically, that means if we use supplementation, as well as stimulatorily. So what does that look like? When we help people with their liver, and we use a product, it's called hepatosynergy, and what it does is it sets up phase 1 and phase 2, as well as phase 3. And you go, well, what is that? It means how you convert toxins to make them water soluble and then push them out so that you poop them out or defecate them out. That's all it means. It means how do you get rid of the toxins? That's phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. So if you've heard liver cleanse before, that's nice. That might just be one of the phases. But there's multiple things that you need to look at the liver to understand what's going on. Do we have enough sulfur? Do we have enough glutathione? Do we have enough B vitamins? Do we have enough acetylcholine? These are multiple systems that actually drive the liver detox system. So if all you're giving them is milk thistle, that's not enough. You need multiple things to stimulate the liver to work correctly. So when we give a person the liver product for phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, what will commonly happen is they take 1 pack a day, they're doing good. And then they take 2 packs a day and all of a sudden they get angry. Because we're stimulating the liver to actually remove the toxins, and in stimulating it, that meridian is directly correlated to anger. And you can watch the anger actually come out. And we've had that happen with about 10% of the clients we take care of. We can also anecdotally look at what happens when people consume toxins such as alcohol. If they have an underlying emotion of anger that they have not expressed, alcohol is a poison. So what part of your body is going to remove that poison? Your liver. So it's going to stimulate your liver meridian will come up, and now the anger can come out. So this is that mean drunk. If you don't have that, you can see the exact opposite. You can see somebody who doesn't have anger and they're just happy, and then this is the kissy drunk, the happy one. Is that making sense? So what we're looking at is how are we stimulating the body? What is the body dealing with, and what are we actually pushing out? If you want to look at what muscle is correlated with the liver, it's actually the one that's correlated with low back pain. It's the glute muscles. If I remember correctly. Well, don't quote me on that. I'm going to go get my cheat book. If you ask what my cheat book is, it's Applied Kinesiology. So it's an AK book. And it has all the AK stuff in it, from emotions to different muscles and the correlative issues. So that's kidney. Yes. Oh no, that's sex. Sorry about this. I wasn't planning on doing the muscles, but it just slides so easily into it. All right, kidney, liver, pec minor, rhomboid. Okay, so take that back. Liver is actually the pecs and the rhomboids. So if you have chronic liver problems, it's going to correlate to shoulder issues and mid-back problems. The other thing you can tell is if you have a liver issue, you will get pimples or little bumps that will show up on very specific areas in your body. Specifically, we'll see the back of the arm and the back of the leg. If they have these little bumps that look like whiteheads, but they're not whiteheads, they're just little raises, that's telling you we got some liver stuff going on. That's usually the two areas they show up first. And then if we have chronic skin conditions, that's a liver problem as well. So the next one we're going to talk about is, let's do that one. Kidney. Do we have any ideas? What do you think kidney, what emotion would that be with? So she's saying get pissed off. That was anger. That was the last one. So I'll let you guys know. So kidney is fear. And fear is correlated. So you can see how these things go all together. So it's not easy to memorize all of them. So it's easier just to have a cheat sheet so you can look at them. So it's related to your hip flexors, your psoas, your iliopsoas being stuck forward and it hurt to extend. And this directly correlates to low back pain for a lot of people. So the psoas muscles will lock up. You'll have tender points in here, and that's correlated to fear. And so if we have that, we can help you in various ways. So I haven't talked about this, but there are different ways that we can actually stimulate the meridians so that you can process through these issues. One, we can use like a tuning fork and find the meridian, but what we found that works the best is actually the laser. So use the laser because it will actually directly put energy into the meridian in the form of ATP and light, and it will actually help you process through. So when we do different parts of the body in different meridians, you can actually feel it moving through your body in different areas if you're sensitive. We also have a really cool thing. Can you get me that book, Riley? Where there are embedded frequencies in the laser. So the laser has a wavelength that it fires at, but then it has a firing rate that it can be turned on, off, on, off, on, off at. And the underlying rate actually gets the result that we want. So if you have an underlying issue where we're dealing with, say, a kidney problem, we can actually set the laser to kidney, the tone for kidney, and actually stimulate the kidney meridian. And then you'll get kidney upregulation. If, on the other hand, we have, say, a trapped emotion in certain areas, there are frequencies called solfeggio frequencies. And these frequencies will help you actually remove certain emotions or deal with toxins and different aspects like that. So if we look at this one will look good. So solfeggio frequency of 396 hertz helps you deal with guilt and fear. So we do kidney, it doesn't remove the issue and it still keeps coming back. Then we can actually use a solfeggio to help you energetically move that energy out. So what can this look like? This can look like we stimulate the meridian and the muscle gets strong. This can look like where we can test the meridian and the muscle can get weak. So we can do muscle testing on you. This can look like where, oh, well, I have a digestive issue and my liver isn't working correctly. So similar to acupuncture, we can upregulate or downregulate the energy to that area with the laser. So there's multiple ways we can actually take care of it, but understand the emotion of unresolved anger or unresolved fear, or we'll get to some other ones, will literally cause physical issues. And those physical issues then can manifest as pain or movement, or let's just say we're somebody and we've got anger chronically. So the mid back is weak. So our shoulders are rolling forward. And the anger is what's not allowing the muscle to fire, not the muscle itself. Because I can test people and literally the muscle can be strong in the initial, but it will fatigue over time. So we test them and it's strong, and then we test them again and it's weaker, and then we test them again and then it goes even weaker. So you can be strong enough to do your squats, 5-10 times, but then you chronically have issues because you're not strong long-term. You're only strong for short-term. And that's going to be a meridian issue coming in or an energy issue. And that can directly correlate to a specific emotion that you're dealing with. Does this make sense? So another common one that people like learning about is the lungs. And the lungs will chronically come up. Do you guys want to play guess again or just me tell you? So I'll just tell you. The lungs is grief. So when you have people who have chronic lung issues, they're usually dealing with some sort of grief in their life. Hard to let go of something, hard to deal with something. And you can also see people stimulating it with different things. So this can be cigarettes, can be marijuana, this can be vaping, it can be different things like that. And so you're trying to get yourself to feel calm using a substance, but you're really stimulating that lung meridian. You also get a dopamine rush from it as well. So there's multiple systems at use when you're doing this. The lungs are correlated to the shoulder, the neck muscles, and the foot. So what will probably show up with this person, if they have chronic grief, their hair will be forward, their shoulder will be tight, so they'll probably get chronic headaches or shoulder problems. But they'll have like that cough or a breathing issue, or I can't catch my breath, and this will chronically come up. And again, we can stimulate meridian, we can look at the muscle. So if you think there's a specific issue, you can literally look at it and go, well, I think this is grief. So I'm going to test deltoid, or I can test the shoulder muscle, or I can test one of the feet muscles, and it all goes with the lungs. And you can see it where you go, okay, so this is definitely lungs, because if it's a physical issue, adjusting should clear it up in a month max, like maximum a month. I will tell you that 99% of the people we take care of, it is not a physical issue. It's an underlying emotional thing that they haven't processed through, and it's manifesting physical. Because if it's just a car accident and we adjust you, you get back to normal real quick. And I can literally validate this because I've been in multiple car accidents and recovered in weeks. Got my curve back, everything's fine. But then I can be dealing with stress from my business, and I can have some anger, and I can have a mid-back pain that won't go away no matter what anybody does. And I literally have to laser the meridian, and then it melts it away. So understanding you may have the physical symptom, but it doesn't mean that's the problem. Because I can literally laser my liver, which shows up right here on the right side, and it will make the mid-back pain go away. Or I can laser a part of your toe and it can make the mid-back pain go away. It just depends on where you're connecting. Are you doing the actual organ, or are you going to do the meridian? And you can test the muscle, and if it strengthens after you've lasered it, we know it's emotional. Does that make sense? The last one it looks like I have time to go over is that one. Where's that one? Stomach. Any ideas what stomach is? What'd you say?
Hunger.
Hunger? Close. So stomach is actually sympathetics. So it's overstimulation of sympathetic. So it's overstimulation of fight or flight. So when the stomach meridian shows up, it means you've literally overstimulated fight or flight. And remember that vagus nerve, what is its job? To make the stomach work, to make the bowels work. So if the stomach is not working correctly, you'll literally, and we'll see this with certain people, when they're overstimulated, how do they calm down? They eat. They're stimulating, they're trying to stimulate through both chewing and eating to stimulate the stomach. Yes, sir.
Is that the same as the gut health, or is that?
So stomach is different than gut. So stomach is just going to be digestion, and then you have liver, gallbladder that will digest the food, and then gut is large and small intestine. So stomach breaks down, but when you talk about leaky gut, we're talking actually large and small intestine. The majority of the time, your gut problem is small intestine. Can be large, but it's for a lot of people, it's small intestine. But the leaky gut problem, I'm going to go off topic and come back, don't worry, is usually because you're too alkaline. So you're so stressed out, you don't make enough acid, and then it allows bad critters to get in. Now you get your bacterial, viral infections, parasite infections, all that stuff. Because if you're acidic enough, only good bacteria can grow. If you're alkaline, bad bacteria grow. So literally, if you're acidic enough, which means you're relaxed, everything dies. You grow the right bacteria. If you're stressed, your stomach doesn't make enough acid. Now you don't digest the food. Now you're going to have burping and belching and cramping and different issues because you're not breaking down the food. And then the liver isn't working to break down the protein or to break down the gall to break down fat. The pancreas isn't working to break down carbs, and the stomach isn't working to break down carbohydrate or to break down protein. So it's all because the vagus isn't working because you're stressed out. So we'll look, what is the muscle we would test if we're looking at stomach? Pec major, biceps, pronatus teri. So I'd probably just test biceps on you. This one right here. If that muscle is weak, and then literally all I do is I come to the stomach, which would be on the left side, go over it for maybe 20 seconds, and it gets strong, we know that's a problem. We know that your arm weakness is not because you're not doing enough curls and you're not strong enough. It's literally because you have a stomach problem. And that's going to be correlated to. So what you'll see when you look at applied kinesiology is body dysfunctions will show up as emotions. The emotion will tie to this structural problem. Or this, you can go even deeper where it goes, then you can also look at this nutritional deficit. That's even deeper, but that's not what this talk was talking about. But what we want to understand is, yes, the emotion can make the physical dysfunction. And that's where a lot of people miss the mark because they go, no, it's a physical body. That's all it is. It's a machine. And I go, that's not how it works. Because this physical body remakes itself every 9 months and the emotions are tied to what's going on. And all it takes is you believing that somebody's going to get you and you'll actually turn off your vagus and go into fight or flight. Doesn't mean it's actually happening. You just dream about it and you'll go into that place. If you stay there long enough, we start getting dysfunction. So what I want you to look at is if you have friends or family members who have chronic issues that aren't going away, it could be an underlying emotion they haven't processed through. The other side effect to this is when we adjust people, their frontal lobe gets stimulated, their cerebellum gets stimulated, we'll literally have them have cathartic releases from the adjustment. That means they'll cry on the table because now their brain actually can process out the stress because the frontal lobe is turned online. We can also have it when we do neurofeedback. We can also have it when we do laser. So what I'm showing you is this is more than just a physical modality. What we're looking at is how do we actually stimulate to get the results that you guys want. 9 times out of 10, the release happens, the body gets better. That's the underlying thing that's holding us back. So think of a friend or family member. You can also let them know this is our PAD week. I think we have 2 spots left, a couple tomorrow and a couple the day after. So if you want to get somebody in, there's still a couple spots left. That's for our $20 deal. And I always leave it open till Monday just to try to help you guys, because this is the way to give back. This is the way for you to help your friends make better choices, because if they're nicer to you, it's easier for you, and you can be all selfish yourself, and it will take care of you, because then they will get better and everything gets easier. But with that being said, think of somebody, let them know there's other ways to get help. If they've run into walls, don't know what to do, lab tests are normal, this person says everything's okay, there's still other ways of looking at the problem that can get rid of the answer, or get rid of the problem and get the answer for you. So please take that chance, talk to that person, and change their life. I want to thank you all for having a good night and being here.